New financial year requires methodical planning. Are you the one who in March randomly invested somewhere so that you could save tax? If you are the one, then today's program is for you. Welcome to Investors Hangout, brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. With me is the CEO of Value Research, Dhirendra Kumar. Dhirendra, welcome.
Thank you.
So, an investment plan to help our viewers save taxes and also achieve their life goals. Time and again you've been saying that please do not rush in the month of March to save tax. What should a person be doing? How should one go about investing so that you can save tax in a planned manner?
No, first and foremost, savings and investment has nothing to do with tax saving. You should worry about saving and investment the moment you start earning, because in your earning years you have to plan for the years when this money that you save has to provide for the years when you won't work and you still need you'll need the money, and so it has nothing to do with it. Then when investing, you should actually prioritize things. So of course, if it is a financial year if it is acting as a trigger, I will just list the priorities once again for you to follow.
Sure.
One is that, if your starting point is tax saving, then we end up getting the most inappropriate kind of insurance that generally happens to be the starting point of most investors. We buy a policy and it is generally inappropriate. It is insurance linked with investments and you don't get best of either. So and you don't get a great insurance, because getting insurance, it's a higher priority.
Yes.
So everybody should work on this methodically. The moment you have financial dependence, you should have insurance, and that should be your first stop. And the only insurance that you need is term insurance. You pay money, get protection, nothing happens to you, the money is gone. Something happens to you, you get such a meaningful coverage that no investment will actually be able to provide it. And you need this insurance only till you have not been able to provide, you have not been able to accumulate your financial net worth, which in 4-5 years time, 7 years time, 10 years time, if you are able to save and invest and that money grows to the extent that it can take care of your family, you don't need the insurance. So the need for insurance expires, and in between it changes dramatically depending on the scale of dependence, financial dependence people have on you. Then comes, having the emergency money, how much money you will need at any time at a short notice, and that depends on your own circumstances. Rest of the money you don't need for many years. Get started. Your first stop should be, if you are a taxpayer, then it should be as much money you can save, and then be methodical about it. Assuming that you are a self-employed person,
okay,
and you can save 1.5 lakh rupees, and in a year's time, and that will be a deductible expense from, it will be deducted from your income. This is the only tax provision that you have for saving taxes with investments. So I think, if you are young, get started with a tax saving fund, invest 12,500 rupees every month from April, and you will be able to average your investment. And think of, and all the tax saving investment comes with a 3-year lock-in period. But look beyond 3 years, look beyond 3 years, maybe think of 5 year, 10 year, 15 years. So that, you are able to, even this 1.5 lakh rupees accumulation, if somebody is just able to barely save 1.5 lakh rupees a year and keeps doing this for 5, 7, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you run the possibility of accumulating something sizable in relation to your monthly income. It can well be, if you are disciplined about it, this could well be your retirement plan, maybe more.
Okay. There are people who have a whole lot of insurance policies with them. What is the thumb rule that they need to have when it comes to the insurance that we're talking about? It's a complex thing that we're talking about, and
no, it's not complex.
No, it is not? Okay.
It's not. It's fairly straightforward. Take out all your old policy.
Yeah,
see if you have, and see if you have a term plan. Hold it. Whether it's expensive or cheap, doesn't matter. Keep your term plans. Get rid of your endowment and unit-linked policies. It's fairly straightforward, because most of the time, we don't read the fine print. We get the policy document. Every investor in a ULIP has a 15-day free lookup period. So in your first 15 days of your of your investment, or purchase of these plans, you can return your policy to get your money back without any deduction. But we don't do that. We keep the envelope, the policy document envelope, sealed nicely in our locker. Take it out, read it. It is hard to read. It is mostly all in fine print. But take it out, understand the surrender, and don't surrender in a half. The surrender policies of these policies, the surrender policy of all these policies individually, that varies. If you hold it for 3 years, 5 years, the surrender charges come down dramatically. And if you have done the waiting for 4.5 years, maybe make your calendar. Think of it as a mistake of resulting from unawareness. And as you become aware, it's like fixing your mistake.
Okay. So what Dhirendra is saying in a nutshell is that you need to have a term plan, term insurance with you, and if need be, top up. Right, Dhirendra? If need be, they need to top up the term plan that they have.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's not actually top up. Have the term plan of an appropriate scale, because top up is
need based.
It's need based. Yeah. If you are earning well and if you have no financial dependence, you don't need insurance. The moment you get, the moment you have financial dependence, if you get married and your wife will be financially dependent on you, you need an insurance of a sizable scale. Then the moment you have children, their dependence, and the need for larger financial coverage rises or grows. So, you need an even larger insurance. The moment you buy a house and buy a house on loan, that need grows further. And the moment you start, and gradually you start accumulating your savings. So gradually you repay your, your EMIs are done. You need a smaller coverage. Then your children get settled or a part of their education is done and you don't need as much money. So your need changes over time. That need has to be fulfilled by term insurance. So do a periodic review. Do a review the moment there is a big change in your personal status. Getting married, having children, buying a house. I think these are 3 big triggers. That's it. And the moment you have been able to accumulate your savings to support those needs, you don't need the insurance. So it changes dramatically. That can be fulfilled only by a term plan. It cannot be fulfilled by an endowment plan or a ULIP policy.
Okay, I'll come to that. So we need to retain our term plan. What about the health insurance?
Oh, health insurance is mandatory. These 2 things, the need for a term plan if you need it, and the need for health insurance is mandatory. You can't get started with your investments till you have it. And of course, you get tax deduction on the spending that you do on this, because it can completely derail your investment plan. If you plan to invest 8,000 rupee, 15,000 rupee, and being unwell for 3 months or 6 months, all your investment plans will go haywire. So it's important, and small expenses you can bear. It is unlikely to radically alter your budget, but this is one thing. So health insurance, look at it more in terms of and be transparent about it. Build your track record. As you are young, you are unlikely to be of course nothing can be said, but more likely your need for health insurance or to be able to avail that comes down is lower. So as you build your track record, you are building your track record with the health insurance company, that your health insurance, and you get a larger coverage with smaller premium if you are able to build a credible, a track record of not taking not availing that.
Okay, so you're asking
not taking a claim.
Okay, you're asking our viewers to not only retain term insurance, but surrender all other policies.
All mixed of insurance and investment.
My question to you is, wouldn't it come at a loss?
Yeah,
you tend to get very little back from if you surrender.
Fix your mistake and make the money work from here on efficiently. That's the principle, and just bite the bullet.
Okay. Fix your mistake is what Dhiren is saying. Okay, let's move on to the investments now. What's your advice on investment, including the tax saving ones?
Oh,
I think I referred to the bucket program that we did sometime back.
Yes, but more than the bucket, yes, that exactly is the principle to be followed. first 1.5 lakh rupees, if you are a taxpayer, must get into ATC investment, and that should be a tax saving fund. Even if you are getting closer to your retirement, that's fine, because it comes with the highest potential growth. It comes with the shortest liquidity, lock-in period, and most people don't have any equity in their portfolio in India. So this turns out to be the only equity investment that they're making, and the 3-year mandatory lock-in enhances the possibility of having a positive experience with your equity investment, because many a times investors lose money, or they have a disappointing experience with equity simply because they have the access to their money anytime. So if you invest and your money goes down by 10%, you tend to curse it for a long time and take your money out, and you don't benefit from it. The 3-year lock-in period, the worst case scenario has been in the last 20 years with these tax saving funds, that even if you chose the worst one and you held it for 3 years, you made little more than what you would have earned from PPF anyway. Occasionally, on 1 or 2 such occasions, if you bought it in March or in December 2007 and held it for 3 years, maybe you earned 7% or for a 3-year holding period. But except for few such occasions, 3-year holding period reduces the possibility of having a bad first experience of equity, and that actually is very important, because most investors, so the forced lock-in works, most investors don't have. So first 1.5 lakh rupee, go for the ELSS. Rest of the money, go for your multi-cap, or have 1 or 2 funds, get going.
Okay. Would you like to term it into money needed in 5 years, money needed after 5, or long-term?
Yeah, of course. As I was referring to that 4-bucket system, the money that you need in emergency, that should be in fixed income funds. That should be in, the money that you're likely to need in 2-3 months, 6 months, 1 year, that should be in your bank account. Okay. Or maybe a liquid fund from where you can access it at a 24-hour notice. You make a redemption request, you get the money in, half an hour or 1 hour up to a certain extent, and remaining money, larger money, can actually come back to your bank account in about 24 hours time. Then the money which you are unlikely to need for 5 years and more should be in equity, and that's generally the rule. And if you are able to follow this, and the first thing should be filled up is the tax saving. Avail that money, tax save is money earned, so must avail this entitlement to the extent possible. And beyond that 1.5 lakh rupee, your savings potential, the amount that you can save beyond 1.5 lakh rupee should find its way into multi-cap funds. So these are 2-3 principles to follow. Of course, your most investors, they're mandatory. Anybody who in the organized sector will, or with the government, will have his GPF or the EPF deduction coming in. That is also an eligible investment. So 1.5 lakh rupees minus that, if you are actually budgeting your tax saving, if you are budgeting your investment for taxes, if you are short of money, then you have to really ration that. But otherwise, if you can save more, avail more than your entitlement. But all these things actually qualify for that ATC benefit, your provident fund deduction, the tax saving fund, or the premium for term insurance will also qualify. Also, the tuition fee for your children's education for 2 children is also eligible expense. But look at it more as an expense. Think of it as an opportunity or an excuse to invest for the long term, and that will come in handy.
Okay, and in all this, timing plays a crucial role. As we've been talking about, this is the start of the financial year, and therefore they should start now for the tax planning, and of course long term they have to think and plan as they go along.
Yes, I would say that these are principles to be followed at all times. This happens to be a financial year start. If that acts as a trigger for you to get your house in order, by all means use this as an opportunity. It's good for you. Yeah. One important thing is that your savings and investment should be methodical. It should fit in with your income cycle. We earn every month. We pay our EMIs every month. We borrow to repay every month. So we should save every month, and it just fits in well. And likewise, your estimate for tax saving investment in a year is also defined. So you should do it every month so that you are not under any undue pressure in the month of March.
I've learned from the range, 12,500 every month. I've put it as my tax saving. And,
Yes.
you know, it's simple now. It's easier for me to do my investment that way and save tax. You know, Warren Buffett said, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving.
Yes, and that should be the start, you know, that should be the rule which everybody should follow. Otherwise, if, you know, we have, maybe Warren Buffett said way too early, when there were not too many spending avenues. Today, we are actually, you know, looking at opportunity. You go to a mall and you see things where everything is available on EMI, sometimes even a phone or a low priced phone is also available on an EMI. So they tempt you to spend money. In this situation, you know, you have to be really disciplined to be or at least a modest saver or a regular saver at all times.
So plan ahead. This is a financial year, particularly about tax saving. Do it from this month onwards till March of the financial year, so that you are not stressed financially and you are well planned and you reap the benefit of it.